Here we go. All right, guys, how we doing? Welcome to the Marvel Madness Comics Podcast. This is going to be episode number 19 in a row for you. I am Brandon, as always, joined by Trevitt. Trevitt, how we doing, man?
Pretty good.
Just wrapping up this Sunday night, talking a little comics here. We're going to get right into it because I have overtime duties tomorrow at work, so I can't be up till 2 in the morning tonight. So we're going to get right into our mission statement here, discuss what books we got going on, tell you how we rate them, how you guys can get in contact with us before we find out if we have any news here to cover tonight or not. But the gist of it is we have 4 books in the lineup for you guys tonight as we continue to strive to fulfill our mission of providing you a bit of the info and tidbits on the Marvel comic book universe. In between talking books, we chit-chat about some of the latest news, rumors, titles, characters, fun facts, and all that falls under the general going-ons of Earth Prime's umbrella. Trevor and I try to cover a variety of titles each month in an effort to avoid any repetitiveness and in an attempt to keep things fresh for you guys and informative to listeners. We got the books divided up into 4 categories, and we always kick things off, at least talking about them. What we're bringing to you each week is first the Spider Family. That's going to be towards the end of the podcast, and we're going to discuss the Venomverse titles that came out this week. So that's also going to lump into our Event Family book with the War Stories title that came out. Trevitt's got the IVX section, and you picked which one?
Royals, number 7.
Royals 7. And then we put a team effort in on the Hero Family. And we chose All New Guardians number 9 this week, and that's going to be a Rocket and Groot-centric story. So there's parts of it that are very quick to talk about because he got Groot running around just saying, "I am Groot." But anyway, we rate all these titles honestly, and we tell you guys to either buy them, borrow them, or forget them altogether instead of the traditional kind of 10-point scale. Buy it means buy it now. Borrow means get that code from a friend once they buy their book. And then forget it altogether means you can forget about it just like we're trying to after we've read it. Well, if you guys are looking to get a hold of us, we got several ways for you to do that for us. We got our Twitter, which is always popping. That's at Madness Marvel 1. Our DMs are open for business. So you can shoot us some information there. If you I don't know, have thoughts about our thoughts, any disagreements, suggestions for the shows, things like that. I also got an email Trevitt set up, and that's at marvelmadness0@gmail.com. So they're either of the ways you guys can get a hold of us. We'd be happy to read your thoughts, share your opinions. So holler at us there. But now that we got all this basic bit covered and out of the way, we can get into the events this evening. And the first one up on the deck would be Trevitt's news section.
Wait a minute.
Right. Yeah, I know. I'll just play the intro there, and then we can come in. We got no news. We're gonna go right to the books. So yeah, we'll do. That was just for my cut, and then we'll do a second one here. All right, so we are back, and we have an empty Trevitt's news section for you guys tonight. It is all quiet on the news front because Legacy comes out in 3 weeks, so they're not really spoiling anything. We're going to give you too much up until that comes out and try to steal that sunshine away. So that's where we're at as far as the news goes.
Like we said in the past, everything pretty much gets ruined 3 months in advance. So we'll have more in like a week or so when the December solicits come out.
Yeah, pretty much. That's where we're at there. So we're going to transition this right directly into the books, and we're going to jump right into All New Guardians number 9. That is a Jerry Duggan story, right? Yep. Writer Jerry Duggan, penciler Mike Hawthorne, inker Terry Pallett. Colorist Jordi Belair, letter duties is VC's Corey Pettit. So we're going to kick things off. This is really, if you're looking for a point to jump onto this book, it's something that's kind of interested you. This isn't really an awful point to jump on because from what I understood, this is like a flashback story kind of, right?
Yeah. It's partially flashback, partially, well, mostly flashback, partially what's going on now,
currently. Yeah.
which
So
is really cool. I mean, you had to
yeah, I
read some of
liked
these
it. It
things.
took me a few minutes to, because I don't read this book literally every issue. You know, I kind of skip a few and then catch up on it. It because I'm a little behind. I figured they kind of aged Groot a little bit when I opened it up, and I was just rolling with that for a little bit. Uh, but then I probably about halfway through the story, once I kind of started piecing bits of that puzzle together, I'm like, oh, this is a flashback story, which makes sense.
Yeah, I'm all caught up, but even I was thrown a little bit when I turned to the first page and I saw a big Groot, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then after the second page, I was like, "Ah, it's a flashback."
Yeah. So anyway, we got Rocket and Groot teaming up in this issue, like we said, and they're pursuing this. What is it? Mega City. It's floating around a dying star. So it's kind of a place where a whole bunch of trade happens, and you got to be approved to pretty much land there, from what I understood. Um, so Rocket and Groot end up landing the ship. They're obviously know where they're going. We don't quite get the idea yet, but they're strolling through this town. You know, they have the typical Rocket and Groot conversation going on, where Groot's just, you know, stating all he can state, which is "I am Groot," and Rocket really filling you in on all the blanks and the ins and outs of this new world real quick that they landed on.
Oh,
Uh,
it's like a thief colony, so you have to be sponsored and like known as a thief in order to go there.
yeah, they don't want any of the good-hearted riffraff mixing with these with these scavengers around here. But as Rocket and Groot stroll through this market, Rocket takes a kiss on the cheek from a couple alien chicks. They end up going into, I don't know, just one of these huts, finding one of the gentlemen they were looking for. And he ends up giving them, what does he end up giving them again? Some,
Data or something.
yeah, it
Oh, it's
looks
the
like a
plans.
USB drive
It's plans for a place called Satopia. I think this is like him. It's him getting the plans
to get the
for
mega bands.
no, to what's going on in the Rocket book, because I think he went to that place Satopia and he robbed that place for that chick Ada.
Oh,
Remember?
okay. Yeah. I
I,
remember
I,
that Rocket
I think
book.
he's like tying it into Rocket's story a little
Okay.
bit.
Yeah, because I thought this was the thing that would lead him to the mega bands, because that's one of the big things going on currently in Guardians. But what ends up happening is Rocket gets this, you know, USB drive looking thing, and then there's a whole bunch of riffraff going on outside. What we see is
Oh
just
no.
kind of like an Oz looking figure comes strolling through this big shot of light. The guy Rocket and Groot went there to meet pulls a gun on this strange looking character, kind of looks like Death with a sickle, um, and ends up paying for it. Gets chopped literally right in half. He's got blue blood.
I
That
just
goes everywhere.
I just remembered that it's the plans for them, the job they did in the beginning when they were stealing the item for the Grandmaster. So that's what it's for. Because remember,
Weren't those the nega bands or no?
no, it was some egg or something like that. I forget exactly what it was.
Okay. Yeah, I vaguely remember the first issue that we read. It not fresh in my mind at this point from back in May or whatever I think it was from. Uh, But anyway, so after this dude gets literally sliced in half, Rocket tries to do what he can, pulls a gun out on him. Obviously, guns wouldn't work on this dude that just came walking through a transporting light and looks like death. So it doesn't go too well for Rocket. He's standing there and has this sickle swung at him, and Groot sticks his wooden arm out, absorbs the shock of the blow. Rocket ends up taking a hit anyway with kind of the backside of the staff as this guy wiggles it free from Groot's arm. Rocket goes flying, and Groot ends up saving his ass again as he slugs this dude with just a good old fashioned punch to buy them some time as they go taking off. So it's actually funny how he grabs Rocket. He just grabs him by the tail as he's trying to hightail it out of town. Trying to get back to the rocket ship, quote unquote. And did you notice in the beginning how it says "rocket rules" on the side of the ship?
No, I didn't notice that.
kind of stupid, but it made me chuckle. So they're on their way. They're running back to the ship. Groot ends up throwing Rocket in the cockpit and doesn't join him right away. And we don't figure out quite why. As Rocket comes to his senses, he's like, Groot, get in. Groot, get in. But this fellow, who we'll find out his name in a second here, has ended up controlling like the roots of Groot. So like has grown his feet down into the ground so Groot can't join Rocket on the spaceship. So Groot does kind of the hero's move, and uses the last of what he can control, his arms, to kind of close the cockpit on Rocket and send him to safety, kind of risking his life in the process. So as the ship takes off, Groot is just waving off to Rocket as he takes off, and he's got like just a dumb looking smile on his face, and you're getting some narration and some words from Rocket here as he just watches his good old buddy, his good old pal, get chopped really to pieces by this dude who we end up finding out is the Gardener, his name is, and he's kind of an elder of the universe. We'll get to him a little more in the midpoint marvelous facts. He's one of the people we'll spotlight. But he chops Groot up into pieces, so Groot's just laying there. And he ends up kind of like kicking all of his bits through this portal. Is that what you understood? Like he's taking all the pieces he chopped up with him?
Yeah, he's taking them all. That's because he's
And
the guy. He's the guy from the first issue who is
throwing
planting
the
all.
little splinters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically where we leave off with the Gardener events as he steps through the portal with all the bits of Groot. Then we join back with Rocket, who's all pissed off. He's punching kind of the control board of his spaceship.
Snot flying out of his nose.
I know, he's as upset as anybody could possibly be right now. Obviously, seeing his friend chopped to bits will do that to somebody. But as he's punching this control board, he ends up getting like a sliver. And he's like, Groot, you clever son of a bitch. And you can kind of see a little sad face on this sliver. But he ends up getting back to the Guardian headquarters or wherever they're stationed at currently. And he's rushing to go find some dirt and some soil to water this little twig so he can end up saving Groot. And it all kind of loops around to the beginning of the Guardian series where they're trying to figure out why Groot won't grow anymore. And it's because the Gardener is up to some funky business with all the pieces of Groot that he has growing, probably at the same time taking the power away from currently little Groot from being able to do so,
Yeah. You can see that Galactus mech, the Trojan horse that they made from the first story arc in the background being built when he goes in there.
Yeah. I was wondering what that is. Okay, you just jogged my memory there. But as like the story concludes, we see Rocket like bring a magnifying glass to his eye, start looking in on the little twig, kind of make sure that it's okay. But then we transition from Rocket's eye to kind of a strange ending here. We wrap things up with Mojo, who's kind of showing this on TV to his television crowd there. And that's our cliffhanger. So maybe Mojo is going to be joining events here, or Mojo has something to do with all this.
I think it was just a joke because like the camera is like in Rocket's eye, and then he's like, like this is a TV show.
Yeah, it totally confused me for a second. I'm like, did this, because I had it on my iPad. I'm like, did I like hit some stupid button or some stupid motion command and skip to an X-Men issue? Like what the fuck? So it's a shocking cliffhanger. Pretty cool. Shout out to Mojo there. How you doing, buddy? But overall, how we do things, guys. We tell you to buy it, borrow it, or forget it altogether. That was really kind of a really quick issue to read. Like it got right into the action. A lot of the action was Groot just saying, I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Groot, as he's running through the different areas of the market and Rocket back to the ship. But, despite it being a very quick read, it kind of tied up some answers to questions I had about the, entire run of Guardians so far going forward and what's up with Groot and that mystery. So, just overall, I enjoyed it, especially the art. The art looked great all the way through all the different characters. Is this the regular team on the Guardians book?
No, this is Mike Hawthorne, who usually works with Duggan on Deadpool when Scott Koblish isn't doing the art.
Okay. So yeah, it's not the usual art, but for a fill-in artist, it still looked really good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That Groot style though always bothers me a little bit with like the muscle
the
underneath the
armor looking.
military. Yeah, I don't really like that look to Groot. But that's pretty much my only beef with the issue. Like there's a little comedy mixed in there. There's some action. There's decent art. It's pretty much what you can expect from a $3.99 comic book, a solid, entertaining piece of work there. So I enjoyed it. I would say it's a buy for me.
I like it. It is a very, very solid series. Like the way Duggan plans it out, like every issue with Aaron Cooter is like takes place in the main story, like in the now, and every fill-in artist issue tells the stories of events that happen prior to the main story that all like lead into like little details or things that we need to know. And it's like everything he does in this issue is really cool, just like all the other fill-in artist issues. I like that, they show him he comes to this planet so they can get to the plans to steal what they need to steal for the Grand Master, so he can give Gamora the information for the Infinity Stone she's looking for, so she can get the piece of her soul back. Like he's juggling so many awesome storylines in this book. Oh God, what was next? I liked that the gardener is the guy that we saw in the first issue planting the Groots, because in this series we've dealt with the Grand Master, the Collector. I'm sorry, I was saying the Grand Master earlier when I meant the Collector. So we've been dealing with the Grand Master, the Collector, the Guardian, the
bunch
Gardener.
of elders.
Yeah, all the elders of the universe. They're all looking for Infinity Stones. Like you could tell, like wherever this is heading, it's gonna be big. And he's really like, for $3.99. Well, I mean, even on a bi-weekly schedule, like the book never like wanes at all. Like it just keeps on chugging along, and it's beautiful. Like he takes, like most of the time when we have these bi-weekly schedules, we get these books where the second issue of the bi-weekly, like you get one really good issue that tells you the story, and then you get another issue that just kind of like weakens the story. You know what I mean? Like this fill-in crap. But he takes the opportunity to take those fill-in issues and give you something awesome. You know what I mean?
Give you some answers, which is
cool. Give you answers, give you backstory, history, and the normal story has great art, and then we always get great art from the fill-in backstory issues too. So it's just like, all in all, this series is fucking awesome. Like I've been keeping up with it through the whole thing. I loved even the art in this issue tells like part of the story. Like, when you see Groot running, just saying, I am Groot, you can see the emotion in his face. Like, he's thinking like, holy shit, we're fucked. We got to get the fuck out of here,
Yeah.
And then when he gets stuck in that mid panel on the right, where he gets stuck to the ground, he looks down and you can see his roots going into the ground, and he's stuck, even though you technically don't know yet until you
find out a few panels later. But you can see the seeds of it being planted. Yeah, it's cool. It's a lot of that in
really
this book.
Cool. It's this is a buy for me. I love this. I love all the callbacks. I just love how he uses the second issue of the month to tell backstory for the main story. I
think when obviously they've hinted at Infinity War stuff kind of popping back up in the future when that movie comes out. That'll obviously be a storyline. But I think this will be a book a lot of people start going back to read when that starts happening, because it's been set up so well, and you'll want the full story when you're dealing with Infinity Stone nonsense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, really cool. I love Jerry Duggan with the Mojo stuff, because he's basically like, I bet this group plot is going to come back around, right? He's like, you just watched Mojo versus Hottest Show. Now stick around for Talking Rocket. Like,
I know, like Talking Dead.
Talking Dead, yeah. I started laughing, and he's like, thoughtgram to us, like Twitter, about your comments, maybe broadcast on this evening's post-rocket launch, like a podcast.
Yeah, I know. I like that too a lot. That was a cool little ending. I probably thought into it more than it really needed to be thought into when it popped up at the end. I'm like, what's he doing here? But he's not usually somebody that messes with the Guardian, so I think it is just a fun little touch. But yeah, that's a universal buy for us. We're going to transition into Royals number 7 after this quick little break here, guys.